Have you ever noticed how some Black Americans get called acting white just for speaking clearly or dressing differently? And how Kenyans who grew up in the U.S. get the same criticism when they return home? Today we're going to talk about where that mindset comes from and why it's actually hurting us. This video stems not just from the comment that we'll share here, but others we've received on the channel and ones that I have experienced in real life living here in Kenya.
And it's not just for Kenyans who grew up in the U.S., but who spent some time, right? So let's get into a comment that we got. And we get a few times. This is not the first one. All right. I'm not even going to read the person's name because I don't want y'all to even know who they are. That one with WHIT, the glasses with one S. No, that says that one with the glasses one.
Yes.
Stop acting like a wannabe Mazunga, you city clown. Acting like you much better than they PPL people in Kenya, Kenia.
So I'm assuming they were talking about me because I'm the one that wears glasses.
Yeah.
So we want to kind of like dissect the motivation behind this comment and how we see some similarities between Black Americans and also Kenyans coming from the diaspora. Welcome back to Travel Check-ins with Saida
and Jermaine.
We talk about life abroad, culture, mindset, and the real journey to becoming who God called you to be. And we want to start this video off with, why as a people do we do this? Why?
Man, I don't know. I think it's misunderstanding, right? And
yes.
Worldview. So I know back home, it was a thing. If somebody spoke with proper grammar, which wasn't me, by the way, they got mocked for acting white or like, depending on how you dressed, or if you like something else besides playing basketball or sports or rap music. Yeah. Right. You don't like rap, white.
Yes. Yeah. So that's kind of like the box or the mold. Right. To where, like, if you're a Black American, if you don't do these specific things, or if you do these specific things, people are going to say, why are you acting white? And what I'm noticing is that, here in Kenya, people have asked me where am I from in Kenya? And I'll say I'm not from Kenya. And I'll say I was raised I'm an American. And they'll be like, no, where
born in America.
Yeah, I'm an American. I was born in America. And they'll say, no, where were you from? And so it's almost like a sense of almost like you forgot where you came from. Because I think they look at my facial features and those things, and then they also maybe, especially if I greet in Kiswahili.
Yes, but I would say this, and this is one thing that non-Gen Zers can learn from. Gen Z, they don't really do that. They're more exposed, and they don't particularly do those kind of things. The Gen Zers actually understand me. I know people in Kenya say, yeah, you swallow your words and that kind of thing, but not to Gen Zers. They understand. And prime example, I have to change up how I normally speak for YouTube and just being out in the streets, right? Because if you take me in my normal South Carolina dialect, half of you won't be able to understand what I'm saying. And when I take that back home down to it's a small town, but it's like a village here. Like sometimes it could be viewed as I'm trying to pretend like I'm from somewhere else. Yeah, or
acting white. So like the way he speaks here on YouTube, when he goes home, if he uses those same the way he pronounces his words or his inflections and stuff like that, his friends joke with him sometimes. It's not anything that's malicious. No. But we're talking about when it's malicious. When Black Americans or Kenyans are like put on the outside because of it. And like some Kenyans may say that another Kenyan thinks they're better. Like the commenter said, acting like you much better than they people in Kenya. And I'm guessing they assume that I am a Kenyan and I'm acting like I'm better than Kenyans.
By speaking like you're from somewhere else.
By speaking like an American, or what some people may even say a colonizer. Some people may say you sound American. Yes.
Yeah, it's it's just a crazy notion when you really think about it. And if you put some thought into it, it's a crazy notion.
So I have a question for you guys. Have you ever been told you weren't black enough or African enough, and how did that make you feel? Let's talk about it in the comment section, and let us know. So let's get to the root of where this mindset comes from. Like, do you think people are born thinking this?
I don't. I think even saying that comes from being colonized or being your people being enslaved. I'm gonna be honest with you, because it's doesn't speak of confidence on who you are and who you think your people are.
Right.
So when you think people are doing anything outside of the norm, you think they're just trying to go off and leave, or just leave the culture behind. And most of the time, that's not what it is. Sometimes maybe, but most of the time, that's just not what it is. It's a reasonable, not an excuse, but a reason for a lot of this stuff.
It's true. It's true. And I think like the mindset, right? I think sometimes it can stem from like division. I think that like people can be pitted against one another. I think this is going on before we were ever even thought about.
Right.
That groups of people are pitted against one another within a same community of people. Everybody has their systems within their community. Even
in the U.S. back in the days, the Italians and the Irish, they got discriminated too, from what I gather. They're not black, but they got their own things too.
Right. So for us as black people, and even as like Kenyan people, because we see it happen even with the Hutus and the Tutsis. So it could be the same group of people, but there's this division that spread. Somebody said this one is better than that one.
Right.
And so even like during slavery and the colonial rule, like people were like divided. You had the people who worked in the field, you had the people who worked in the house. You had some people who were being educated, you had some people who weren't. So
and the house people always were looked at as the worst ones.
Yes, like sellouts. And so it's like you want to go out and do things to better yourself, to better your community, but then when you come back to your community, you're not sometimes well received. And I see that happens in Black America, and it also happens, I'm starting to see here in Kenya.
And less in Black America. It's becoming less and less.
Yes, especially with these younger generations, because the younger generations are beginning to mesh and meld. I think like communities and also cultures are beginning to mesh and meld. Not a whole bunch, but a little bit more.
And Black Americans are actually starting to travel a little bit more. So their view is starting to change, and their understanding. Like, I'm going to give y'all some behind the scenes, especially Kenyans. If you go to the U.S. or some of these other places speaking in your normal dialect, you will not be able to communicate because they will not understand you. Somebody will, but for the masses, they will not, and it will keep moving. So in order for you to succeed, a lot of times you have to assimilate a little bit, but change your communication. The same way y'all say, I swallow my words here, your words sound different in the U.S. So we all have to do things if we want to communicate effectively. Right. So those things, when people come back, if you do that for 10 years, you're just going to change the way you
10,
speak.
20. Imagine you went when you were 13.
I don't care if it's your brother.
45.
Your brother's going to come back speaking differently because he had to, and now it's a habit.
Right. And especially if you're an American and you feel a certain way about the time of slavery, if you inherited a certain mindset, when you see Black Americans do well, you're going to say, oh, they think they're better than us. Or, oh, that person thinks they're better than us. And then even on the flip side, like even like with someone coming back from the diaspora to Kenya, it doesn't make sense to look at them like they think they're better, but we understand to make it in this world, there is a certain level of assimilation. And I don't think there's anything wrong with assimilation. Like you can't go in there and
another place.
You can't go into a professional work environment acting like a hood rat. You just can't. And my cousin will tell you, just to be fair, right? who I am today wasn't who I always was. So you have to be able to change. You can't be the same person you was when you were
you better not
16 or 17.
Well, you should not.
No, you should learn to speak more clearly, more effectively. You should be able to articulate yourself. And
if you're around another group, because
Right.
if you're around the same group, it doesn't matter. But a different group, you have to.
And when I see these mindsets, what it really looks like to me is insecurity. It really just, at the end of the day, like when you just boil it down to, you know, the bare nuts and bolts of it, it's insecurity. And if you can come on a video or you can say to a person that they think they're better just because the way they carry themselves, the way they speak, I think really what it is you think they're better than you. I don't think it's that they think they're better than you. I think it's you think they're better than you. And I think it boils down to insecurity. But what can we do about that? Like, what can we do to make it so that the diaspora can come back, make it so Black Americans can reach back into their communities? Because it's hard to reach back into your community when people are skeptical of you and thinking, or trying to maybe distrustful of you, I think.
I mean, the main thing you have to do, man, is think and do your research. I mean, those are only two things I can really think. You have to put yourself around other people who are not exactly like you, and you'll realize everybody doesn't think like you do. Everybody doesn't speak like you do. And people are not always trying to put themselves on top of you. Just because they're trying to better themselves doesn't mean they're trying to be better than you. They're just trying to better themselves.
Right. They're trying to be better than themselves, better than who they was last year.
And just because somebody speaks a certain way doesn't make them better than anyone. It just makes them better for their situation. So if they're around a people who won't understand their normal dialect, they have to change. And that is bettering themselves, right? Because if you want to excel in where you are or what you're doing, you're going to have to change regardless, period. Whether it's your speech or something, your behavior, your clothes, you're just going to have to change it. Now, if you don't want to ever change, don't ever go nowhere, don't ever do anything. That's what it boils down to. Right.
And you have to understand that your world is not the only world, and that anything that happens outside of your world is not necessarily fake. And sometimes, you know, when people are not acting or doing things the same way you do them, you may say, oh, that person is acting fake. And also, it's also about being able to face your own limitations and being able to look at your own potential and saying, okay, you know, what can I do to be better? How can I connect myself to this person so that I can be better as a person, versus like coming from a sense of attacking that person, maybe aligning yourself with that person. Because I think people like, you have people who just would love to help people. You have people who are from the diaspora who come back to Kenya who want to help people. But I hear a lot Kenyans like from our channel say, you know, when they come back, they're treated like a Mzungu. They're charged extra high prices for no reason. They're expected to pay extra high prices. So I mean, like,
especially we're talking about looking to the future and Gen Zers and being the new leaders. Listen, these new Gen Zers, once they get their stuff together, they leave. They get treated. I'm gonna tell you, I hear some of them say, "I'm not even coming back."
Ain't gonna be no black tax.
Yeah, that's something totally different. But you have to watch what you're doing if you're looking for the future of this country, right? And your nieces and nephews and all these people are paying attention,
right?
So, just try to have some understanding, man. Even if someone is pretending to be American and they're not, so what?
Right. And at the end of the day, right?
Do what they want.
Don't play a hate. Congratulate. Right. When somebody levels up, when somebody does good, we got to start clapping for them versus criticizing them. Because at the same time, right? If another Black American is winning or another Black American is doing well, like, celebrate them. Like, cause I mean, to me, bitterness only brings more bitterness. No. Jealousy only brings more jealousy. Right. And I think you have to, have a more positive outlook and a more positive mindset. If you want to win in life, you have to like change your mindset and you have to change your outlook. Being jealous doesn't profit anything. No. Being critical doesn't profit anything. It's being happy for people. Right. It's having gratitude. You know, those are the things that bring good things your way. And you have to understand that identity is fragile, and identity is not tied to accent or neighborhood or style or struggle. And I know I've dealt with this because you can move around different places and feel like you have to assimilate to fit into this place or that place. But you got to understand, people at their core, if somebody's a Kenyan, they're a Kenyan. Right. Somebody's a Black American, they're a Black American. Right. And we didn't all have these same situations. And somebody from an urban neighborhood and somebody from a suburb, they're going to have different worldviews because they had different experiences. That's us and our kids, right? Exactly. Like things we talk about with our kids, you know, they're like, what are y'all even talking about? So it's just, you have to understand that there's different generations, and you have to understand, like, at the end of the day, we're all Black or we're all Kenyan. So, I mean, we're still a group. Yeah. A shared struggle. And if you're trying to advance yourself, you have no time for that kind of thing. It's true. Right. If you're advancing yourself and you educate yourself, and I don't mean going to school. I mean steady reading, looking at things on YouTube, whatever. Trying to educate yourself, you will realize different things, and you don't even have time for that foolishness. And that's how you break the cycle. You break the cycle by educating yourself, growing, letting your growth, like, don't hide your growth. Right. Don't hide it. Right. And give yourself permission to be different. Right. Because, I mean, sometimes that culture can be a chokehold, and it can make you not want to do things because you don't want to get ostracized by the group. But you got to give yourself permission to be different. Like Jermaine and I, we've done so many different things, and people have thought different things about us that weren't positive, but we had to keep moving and do what we had to do. Now, for the most part, it's flipped. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Because we've been out here for over a year now, and now I know people are kind of starting to open their eyes up and thinking about kind of traveling further than just the islands. People are starting to talk about coming to the continent. Yeah. That's a whole nother thing. Yeah. Black Americans and Africans and against each other. That's a whole nother thing. That's about to get shut down. So it can't be Kenyans against Kenyans. It can't be Black Americans against Black Americans. Or Black Americans against Kenyans. That's just... It has to be unity, and we have to be unified as a people. And I really think that's the only way, like, that we're able to grow and grow at a faster rate. Even Black hating white, what is that going to do for you? Nothing. Not a thing. It never did anything for me. Like, this is humankind. Yes. And you can't say, like, there's going to be certain things you may not understand from a different culture. Right. Yeah. Bet. Yeah. Got it. Right. But when we bring different cultures together, and I see it even in how we do ministry, when different cultures come together and they bring together the best of their cultures, not criticizing, but congratulating. Yes. Pushing up, not tearing down. Pushing forward. That's when I see the most stuff happening is able to be done. Right. So what part of your identity have you been hiding to fit in? And what has been your experience as a Kenyan in the diaspora interacting with Kenyans back at home, or vice versa? What has been your experience as a Black American as you have worked to grow and become better? Let us know down in the comment section what you think. And make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. And we will catch you guys in the next video. All right, y'all. Bye.